We're going to show you is an administrator user. It's slightly different from a user setup, and I'll highlight those changes as we go through. You use your username. In this case, we are Epicom. You type in the password supplied to you. You'll either get an email with your password or your administrator will tell you the password. The first place you're going to come to is your splash screen, which is going to welcome you to Sugar. Your next page is your basic information. This is where you're going to be able to supply your first name and your last name. You can also at this time add your office phone, mobile number, city and state, zip, instant messaging. Later on you will be able to set at your user preferences anytime you wish to, so you're not locked to these values right now. On this next screen you'll see your localities information. Notice that we do have little eyes that are circles. This is information, so if you do not know what a time zone is, you can click this eye. Well, it'll give you a little help window telling you exactly what that field is. Of course, you can set your time zone. You will be able to pick the date format. The time format, you do have the ability to do lowercase, capital case, PMs. You can do military time, whatever your preference is. Now, this is just for your settings. This won't affect global settings. So if user 2 comes in, they'll be to pick their own preferences at that point. We do have currency settings, so you can go with the euro or the $sign. You can separate your decimal places. You can pick your decimal separators, your thousand separators. It will give you an example of what you'll be looking at, so that if you switch it to 6 decimal points, you can see what that will look like in this little area there. And lastly, we have a name format. It's just the way that the names will display. In this case, we're going to do salutation, first name and last name, which is the default. Now here's where we get a little bit different from the administrator to the regular user. An administrator is going to have a couple extra steps where they can either create users or import data, whereas a regular user won't have these links. When I click Finish, it'll take me to the home page of my instance. And at this point now, I will never have to use that wizard again. I will go directly to my home page once I log in. Once we come to the home page, you'll see a wide screen of data. These are your dashlets. The dashlets are separated in tabs. Right now, these are default. You do have the ability to move your dashlets around by clicking the header and dropping it. You can change the layout from 1 column to 2 columns to 3 columns of information. And I have the ability to add dashlets to what I want by clicking Add Dashlets, and I have several stock dashlets I can add. So when you come to the home page, the first thing you'll notice at the top is the static toolbar that allows you to go to any module that you have set up for your account. In 6.5, we have the ability to switch the modules around so that the ones that are listed in more can be your favorites up here and be more prevalent into everyday use. Clicking the cube will always take you back to the home page no matter where you are, and this bar will be on every page in your system. Of course, we have the global search toolbar here where it has a full text index in 6.5 that allows us to search all our fields when set up correctly. You do have your profile picture next to that, as well as a drop down listing you to administration and user preference settings. The administrator has a few extra items that a system user will not have. You'll notice that this time I now have the ability to go to the administration screen where I'm able to do system-wide settings for my users. I can go ahead and hit user management and add users right here, and I can go to system settings right here where I can change globally the preferences for my system. I'm logged in as a system user, so I do not have the administrative settings which would be found here. I have the ability to log out. I can find out what version I'm on. I can get a little help. I can call some support, and I can see my coworkers, and most importantly, I can edit my profile for my system, so that if you did make an error on your wizard, you can go to profile, and from there you'll be able to reset your picture, your name, your last name, your title, your phone information, and as well as your email and email settings. There are some extra settings in here that you did not see in the wizard, such as changing your password, setting a theme, and some advanced topics like hiding or displaying modules on the top toolbar. And again, we got your locale settings, so if you want to change your time zone, you were able to do that. And your calendar options if you want to hook up a calendar to it, an iCal calendar. The plus sign on the top right allows you to quickly create an account contact opportunity or some of the other more popular modules that you have if you have to do one really fast. All the modules and sugars have the same basic setup. There are differences between them, but for the most part they are set in this structure. I'm going to take you to the account module, and when you click on any one of these headers, it'll take you to what's known as the list view. This will list all the records in your module. You do have the ability to search, and we do have an advanced search which will give you more options to change, and these are highly customizable so that you can add your own fields in here so that you may search by your fields and set up your list view to the way you want it. When you select a record, you will go to what's known as detail view. This is where you'll get information about that record so that you can get your general information and any tabs that you might have to have more information. And below that we have what's known as subpanels. So every one of these is called a subpanel. So we have an all activities subpanel, a history subpanel, and documents and contacts, so that you know that for in this case, this account, which is titled TCAT Media, we have several contacts as a one-to-many connection, so that each one of these contacts is associated to that account. To the top left, we have a drop down that allows you to do some action items to this record. The default is edit, so you're able to edit by just clicking this button right here, and this will take us to what's known as the edit view. You'll notice that the subpanels are now missing because all you're going to be doing is editing the main record, and at this point we can edit any of these values. When you hover over the module name at the very top, you'll see that you have your action items to the left. In the middle you'll have recently viewed items in that module, and then you also have a list of your favorites. Hovering over and clicking it will go straight to that record, so that when you recently viewed air safety, by clicking it you will go straight to that record. To set up your favorite, all you have to do is click the little star to make it yellow, and then that will show up in your favorite list.